Tell me. Oh, hi. I'm trying to clean up a little bit. Oh no, I lost my Jesus. Trying to clean up a little bit before everybody gets here. You know, we're supposed to be making sure we keep the surfaces clean and everything. And I was just waiting on Bella and Jackson, getting all this cleaned up, because I want to make sure there's no germs whatsoever. Can't have germs, can we? Got to be really careful. Okay, so here comes Bella and Jackson. Hi guys, I just got it all cleaned up. You got your crowns on too. Did you notice? I have a crown on. Bella has a crown on. Jackson, put your crown back on. Yay! So we all have crowns on. But I'll tell you about that a little bit later. And also, remember, if you go outside, or and go to a store with your mom or dad, make sure you wear gloves, and make sure you always have your Germ-X. We always got our Germ-X, don't we, Bella? In case we always accidentally touch each other. But I have a big, big surprise for you all today. I'm not going to be teaching you. Miss Jessica's here! Yay! So excited. She just walked in, and you know what? She has a crown on too. But remember, we're starting a new month, so we have a new element of the month, and it happens to go with our crowns. So Bella, I'm going to walk away so Miss Jessica can come in, because we still have to do our social distancing. Remember that. Love you all. See you later. See you later, Jackson.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Bella and Jackson. I've missed you guys so much. All I want to do is give you a big hug, but I can't. So I'll just keep it for myself and I'll hug you from a distance. Like Miss Teresa, I'll get my hand sanitizer and Germ-X too, because like our hearts are clean at this time, our hands need to be clean too, right? Right? Yeah, okay. So we will get started. Miss Teresa told you a little bit. It's a brand new month now. It's April. Do you know what's awesome about April? April Fool's. No, well, I guess that's pretty cool, but it's my birthday month, Bella. I get a birthday this month. But you know what else is important in April this year? My most favorite holiday in the whole wide world, Easter. I love Easter. It's my favorite. It's special, and it's so important because to me, that's the biggest day for anybody who believes in Jesus. And even if you don't believe in Jesus, that's a good day for you too, because you can be saved that day. And so throughout this month at Children's Church, we're going to learn about Easter. We're going to learn what happened to Easter. We're going to learn some more about Jesus. So I'm really, really excited. And I miss all you guys out there, and I love you. And we can't wait till we can be together and see you all. And I can tell you guys to be quiet and quit fussing. I can't wait. I miss you guys so much. So we will get started here, Bella. And Jackson over there. And all your beautiful, sweet faces. Look at you there. I miss you guys so, so much. So we're going to do our song first. And this song is really sweet and special. It's our Easter song this year.
You all don't have to sing along, just listen.
Because he walked with men, I know the way. Because he calmed the storm, I'm not afraid. Because he bowed beneath all things, he lifted me above. Because he shared his blood for me,
I loved it. So we'll open up with prayer. Make sure
Click, no,
the prayer
click.
slide's not on there yet. Let's try again here. All right, Billy, you want to say our prayer for us?
Dear God, Lord, we are so glad that you love us and have a plan for our lives. There are so many things you do for us we don't usually pay attention to. But I pray you will help us remember that you are the reason we are breathing and have the things we need for life. Your word tells us that every good and perfect gift comes from you, and we want to say a big thank you for blessings. Help us focus on you right now and show us what you want us to learn today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. That was a really good job, Bella. All right, so let's take up our offering. Are you going to do that this week, Bella? Okay. Got your offering money, Jackson? Yes. Okay. Oh, there's some over here too. There's not. All right. You normally have it counted, Teresa? Or-
Yep.
Right, Bella, it's you today. $2.50. I almost gave you a high five. I'm glad I stopped myself. $2.50. That's really good.
And remember, kids, you can take up offerings at home and put them in your envelope, and then whenever we ever get back together, you can bring them in.
That's right. And mommies and daddies, if you want to contribute before then, let Miss Teresa or myself know, and we will make arrangements to get that money where it needs to go. All right. There's the offering. Good job, Bella. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts. What is it, Bella? Element of the month. What do you think it's going to be? You think it'll have to do with the crown on our heads? Probably. Ta-da! Read it, Bella, real loud. I can't hear you louder.
The risen king.
The risen king. That's our element of the month this month, which is why we have these lovely crowns on our head, because what are we, Bella? Do you know what we are? We're the daughter of a king. Who's our father? Who's our heavenly father who's a king? There you go.
What about, but Peep isn't.
Well, Peep would be the son of a king, because he's not a girl. You're right. Sorry, Peep. Yeah, I didn't mean to leave you out, buddy.
I said.
So, the risen king, the son of God who reigns forever. And do you recognize that word reign? That word was in our element last month. Sovereignty and sovereign. Reign is a part of that word, and that means a king who reigns, who rules over everything. So you can see how it kind of goes together. You want to read that for us really loud, Bella? You can do it! Do it for me, please. Come on.
The Son of God who
Reigns. You got it.
forever.
Good job, good job. Now it's time for what else? Well, I can't hear you, Bella.
Verse of the month.
Our verse of the month. We got a brand new one because it's a brand new month. So let's see what that is. Do you want to read it or you want me to? Me? Okay. Now unto the King eternal, immortal, invisible, the only wise God, be honor and glory forever and ever. Amen. And that comes from 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 17.
King James Version.
King King James Version, according to Miss Teresa. What's next?
Big idea.
How did you know? You've done this before. How did you know?
I can see the next slide on the screen.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's time for the big idea. Ready? Are we going to do that?
Okay, here we go.
Put Jesus back on the cross. There we go. Okay. So our big idea. Bella, read it super loud so everybody can hear you. Hold on, Beach.
The risen King has always been.
The risen King has always been. Seems kind of like a funny sentence, huh? Always been?
Where?
Well, exactly. Where? What? Huh? Always been doing what? Where at? I know. Let's see. Maybe. I bet we'll go more into that with our lesson here. And here comes Jackson, baby Jackson, but my Jackson's favorite time of all children's church. Snack time!
Jax, wait, I'll bring on to you.
Come sit down, Jax. Let Bella serve you, because we need to have an attitude of servitude. You got this. Here's your juice and your cookies.
Oh, bye-bye, kiss. I got Cheez-Its.
And Bella got her some Cheez-Its and some juice. So maybe you guys are eating the same things at home. Maybe your dad's in the kitchen cooking breakfast. Or maybe you've already had breakfast, but we love snack time around here, don't we? What comes after snack time?
Pastor Steve.
Pastor Steve! I love Pastor Steve! Yay, Pastor Steve! Look at his face today.
It kind of looks like he's dancing or something.
Here we go. There's our element here.
Hey boys and girls, it's Pastor Steve and I want to welcome you to today's Big Idea video. Say it with me. Big Idea Video. Alright, yeah. Well kids, we are starting off a brand new month studying the element of the risen King. Wow, this is going to be so cool. We're going to be learning some great, cool lessons about Jesus. Now, you might be saying, well, Pastor Steve, I already know quite a lot about Jesus. But I want you to know, we're going to focus on some lessons about Jesus that many of you may have never known, or if you've learned it once before in the past, it's just going to help you be reminded of how awesome God is. Hey kids, let me ask you this. What is this that I'm holding? Yes, what an easy question, Pastor Steve. That is your phone. That's exactly right. It is my phone. And I have a phone. Miss Katie has a phone. Girls have phones. And probably all of the grown-up people or close to grown-up people in your family have phones like this too. But did you know phones have not always been like this? Most of you kids watching the video today were born after the creation of phones like this that have beautiful color screens, and it gives you the ability to do all sorts of wonderful, wonderful tasks. For instance, someone just named something that you can do with this phone. Yes, exactly right.
Phil said play Minecraft.
You send someone a text message with a funny picture or cute kittens or cute puppies. Oh my goodness, I can't believe how cute this puppy is, right? Very good. What else can you do with a phone? That's right, you can use it to watch the latest episode of Captain Squishy Poo. How fun, right? You can always find something fun to do and watch on this phone. Okay, let's take it up. What else can you do with the phone? Oh yes, one of my personal favorites. You can play games. That's right. You can just be sitting here and you can build train stations and you can blow up balloons and you can accomplish all kinds of crazy tasks on games that you can play right here on this phone. But you know, the one thing that I didn't hear anyone say you could do with this phone is talk to someone. You know,
Call
the
somebody.
original point of the phone was to dial numbers by pushing buttons, and it makes a connection across wires that allows you to talk to someone very, very far away. Now, with these phones, there are no wires. It just sends the signal up into space and it bounces off of satellites, and magically, it seems, you can actually talk to someone else. Well, now what I've got here on this table is an antique of sorts. Certainly most of you kids would say, what is that crazy?
You recognize that, Bella?
Well, this is actually a phone. This is a telephone that was created before there were phones like this. Yes, there are days in our history, not too long ago, that the only purpose for a phone was to make a phone call. Yes, that's right. So let's just call someone right now. Push the numbers, call the phone number, not just a picture of someone, and it rings. And someone will answer. Oh, hey, how's it going? This is me, Pastor Steve. I'm just doing a video here for the kids, so I can't talk to you long, but I just wanted to demonstrate how the phone used to work. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. So, you see, you could use the phone only really for that one purpose. Now, the phone is not something that was invented just maybe 20 or 30 years ago, but the phone was actually invented back in the 1880s. Alexander Graham Bell is the one who's credited with the invention of the phone. He invented the phone just based on his desire to improve the telegraph. He was the one that put together the first phone call, where he actually spoke to someone through a connection of a phone. But there are many people who credit earlier inventors with the creation of the phone back in the 1600s. Oh yes, back in those days, those very, very basic devices were called mechanical acoustic devices. So do you think you could play games, send text messages, or watch videos online on the mechanical acoustic device of the 1600s? That'd be a big, big no. Let's all say no together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. No, 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 no. That's right. We had to let technology increase. So the phones that we have had in the world have taken on many different shapes, and they've all had that one purpose, for you to be able to speak to someone far away through that connection. Well, you know, that's really the most important thing that has to do with the phones we have today that you're familiar with. But isn't it interesting that they haven't always been the way they are now? You see, kids, our big idea today says the risen King has always been. So during the history of the world, there hasn't always been a phone at all. And it's only been in the last maybe 15 years that we've had phones like this. The phones that we have not always been. But our King, Jesus, has always been. He has existed since before the beginning of time on earth as we know it. And this is an incredible thing that we need to learn in order to increase our faith in God. So I'm super, super excited about you learning this great lesson about Jesus today. So let's get those Bibles out. Let's dig in and learn all we can together right now.
All right, Pastor Steve, we will do what you say and get on with our lesson here. Let's see what we got next here. So there's our big idea again. We talked about it. The King has always been. All right, Bella, let's play a little game, and you kiddos out there too. What do you think those are, Bella? He kind of says it right underneath it. It says they're the oldest sunglasses in history. Those don't really look like sunglasses, do they?
It just looks like a big weird thing with lines in it.
It kind of reminds me of a superhero mask. You know, like the mask they put on?
Yeah, but or maybe if they put another one in between.
Right, because the lines are really small. I think it'd be hard to see at those. So it says these sunglasses are hundreds of years old and were created by native North American people who lived and hunted in really, really extreme cold temperatures in Canada and Alaska. So the ones pictured here were found on North Baffin Island and were also referred to as snow goggles. During certain times of the year, the sun shines for 20 to 22 hours, and the reflection of the sun off the snow and ice in the ground was almost blinding. So it's probably why they're really small, because the sunshine was so bright it could almost blind them. So that kind of makes sense. All right, let's see what next one we've got here. Says that is the first known smiley face. Can you see the smiley face, Bella, a little bit? Yeah, sorry. It's kind of, you can see it. The eyes there, and then the mouth goes just like that.
I've seen that picture on YouTube.
Oh, you've seen that picture before? Okay. It says the first known smiley face was found on a 3,700, Bella, 3,700-year-old pottery flask from an ancient Haiti community. It was found in the area of where Turkey and Syria is now. And I guess there are even emojis back that far. What do you think, Bella? Does that kind of look like the smiley emoji? It does, doesn't it?
Probably was
Right here. It says that this was a Roman soldier's first army knife. Does your Paul carry a pocket knife with him? Ever? Does that look like Paul's pocket knife? Not really, does it? So it had a spoon, had a blade, a spatula, a fork, a toothpick, and a spike, and a toothpick. How about that? It says Roman soldiers' first army knife. It said it looks like the world-famous Swiss army knife had a much earlier beginning in the Roman Empire. This knife is believed to date back to the time of Christ, so it's over 2,000 years old. Soldiers are very creative when it comes to creating tools to help them survive. And this knife with a spoon, fork, knife blade, and more probably came in very helpful. So I guess like when they were out, battling their enemy, they got hungry, they just sat down, took out their knife, put the fork on, and just started eating. What do you think about that? I would maybe like to have one of those today. Maybe just a spoon and fork so I could just snack anytime I wanted. Does that sound pretty good?
it might look weird.
It might look weird. That's okay. We don't mind to look weird, do we? All right, let's see what we got going on next. And the reason that they wanted us to see all of those old items is because I want you to understand that everything had a beginning. That's how sunglasses started out. But that's not what sunglasses look like right now. And that's what knives started out at, but that isn't what knives look like now necessarily. And smiley faces look a lot different too. I guess they're kind of still the same, but everything got started. We all got started somewhere, and most of the items we have today all got started somewhere, like when Pastor Steve talked about the phone, how it got started. So most things have a beginning.
I've seen a phone like that.
You've seen an old phone like that before? Have you seen the old ones? I bet Miss Teresa can remember that you had to put your finger in the circle, you had to dial it, and then it went back.
I haven't seen it, but I know it.
And then you had to dial it. My grandma had one of those. And then to get really old, my dad used to talk about the party lines that they had. And if you picked up the phone, your neighbor could be on the same line, and you couldn't talk because they were on the phone. And now you can FaceTime like 5 people at once. So it's nice to see how things change over time, where they got started. So that's why they wanted to show you all those old things, so you could realize everything has a beginning. Okay? Does that make sense? Kind of? Maybe?
Yeah.
All right, so the big idea again, the risen king has always been. Been what, Bella? Do we know that yet? No. Maybe we'll find out.
Maybe then.
So we're back at the beginning of our slideshow. I'll leave that up there. That's good.
I think
All right.
I know what it's talking about.
You do?
Probably been in like the universe.
I think you're right on the money, Bella. So we're going to read our Bible verses, and we're in John, the Gospel of John. That's in the New Testament, after Luke, John, before Acts. The New
The
Testament.
first thing I looked at was that.
You saw John the first time. How cool are you?
There's not a slide up for that?
It says end of slideshow after that one.
32.
That's slide 24, 24.
That's
I thought it was odd too. I thought it usually had a slide that brought up the verses.
Yeah. That's weird.
Which one?
We are chapter 1. chapter 1, verse 1.
I don't want to tell you.
Teresa, do you normally let the kiddos read? Or do you want me to read? Me to read? Okay. All right.
Jack,
So,
come here.
Jackson will listen to the Bible story? No, he said. All right. So, chapter 1, verse 1 says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God." So, let's take a look at that first verse here, Bella.
That's kind of confusing.
You think it's confusing? What's confusing about it?
Because it keeps on saying like the same word. Because it says like in the beginning the word and the word was with God and the word was God.
That's right. So now I want you to read it back.
Like, word.
Word, like word. So now we're going to read it, Bella. What else is different about the word word in there? Does it have a capital letter? The word word?
It's supposed to.
You don't think it's supposed to? Maybe it is. What does it normally mean when you have a capital letter, Bella?
Like it's like important, like a name or something.
You are literally the smartest person I know. That's exactly what it means. It usually means it's a person or somebody important. Maybe it is. Let's
I
see
know
what.
someone even smarter in my class.
I can't believe it. I don't believe it.
You know. It's like the smartest one in my class.
So this says, it gives us an idea here. It says, when you hear these two verses, it might be a little confusing. That's exactly what you said, Bill. It was a little confused. And this lesson is about Jesus, so we're going to learn about Jesus. So what I want you to do is we're going to reread this, if I can spit it out. And every time it says word, I'm going to put Jesus in there. And we're going to see if it's going to make a little more sense to you, okay? In the beginning was Jesus. And Jesus was with God. And Jesus was God. Does that make sense? A little more sense?
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? So the same was in the beginning with God. So when you say it like that, it makes a little more sense. Remember, the King has always been. I think we kind of found out our answer. In the beginning, Jesus was there with God. He was God. And he was there with God.
That's still
It's
confusing.
still a little confusing. Well, that's okay. It's okay. So let's read on now. And that's exactly what it says here. It says we thought this was really cool. It says Jesus was there at the beginning, and he was God, and he's always been there with God. And verse 2 tells us he was right there at the beginning, which is what we said. God is eternal. He has no beginning or end. And there was a definite starting point for our planet, and Jesus was there at the very beginning. So we found out he's always been there, basically. All right, let's read the next verses. Read John 1, chapter 3. It says, "All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made." There's all those words again.
And it's still confusing.
Still confused. Okay. Let's see what this breaks down chapter or verse 3 for us. It says, "Through Jesus all things were made. Nothing on earth that has been created was created outside of Jesus. Jesus brought life to everything on this planet: people, dogs, cats, cows, fish, eagles, porcupines, trees, roads, grapevines, everything. So if he didn't already exist, this couldn't be true. God has given the Bible to us, and it's perfect in every way. There isn't a single error anywhere in its pages, because God's word is truth." All right, let's see what our next verse says. 4 says, "In him was life, and the life was the light of men."
Still confusing.
Well, it says Jesus is life, and Jesus is light. And what does your shirt say? "Let your light shine."
I couldn't read it, could
Because it's upside down. But you have Jesus in you, and Jesus is light, so you let your light shine. That's what verse 4 says. In him was life. Jesus gives us life. And the life was the light of the men. So because we have Jesus in our life, he shines the light for us. We shine the light for him. Right, verse 5 says, "And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot comprehend it." Is that still a little confusing for you too?
Yeah.
All right. So it says Jesus is the light that shines in the darkness, which is what we read. It says, what is the darkness that do you think the verse is talking about? You think it's like the nighttime, or you think it's like something else?
Probably something else like something like bad or something?
Yeah, it says it's not talking about the darkness of night, but it's talking about the darkness of sin that's in the world, which is exactly what you said, something bad. We all know sin is bad. So that's a really good job, Bella. And it says Romans 3:23 tells us that we've all sinned and come short of the glory of God. That even though we have Jesus in our hearts, we still sin, and we have sinned. But that's why we have Jesus, because he can save us from our sins. It says the verse tells us that Jesus is the light that shines in the darkness of sin. And even though there's a lot of darkness in the world, Jesus always outshines that darkness. Even if it's sickness, which is what we see now, if it's sin, any other kind of sin, Jesus always shines brighter than anything that's dark in the world, no matter what. All right, so let's go down to verse 6. Well, actually, it's giving me a hit here. Okay, I got to read the rest of it. It says, that was true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. So let's break these verses down a little bit for you, Bella. We got this. Saying Jesus was the creator of everything and everyone. Most of the world didn't see him in this way. Verse 11 talks about how Jesus came to the people who were chosen by God to be a special people, but even many of them did not recognize him as the one God had promised to save us. It says Jesus came to bring us all really, really good news. What do you think the news was, Bella?
A lot of stuff.
A lot of news. He did. He told us a lot of good news. The gospel is a word that we use and that we hear at church a lot, and that means good news. So gospel means good news. It says Jesus came to the earth as a baby to bring his light into the world. Jesus came so anyone who trusted in him could know that he